What's up, guys? Just thugging it out. And where would you think? A Walmart parking lot. So, what's it going to take to legitimately get rich this next cycle? A lot of you aren't going to like my answer, but more and more so as these cycles go on for crypto, it's going to take either more energy that you're coming in with. And when I say rich, I'm talking about multiplied millions, let's say a couple mil. You're either going to have to bring in more energy or you're going to have to start your own project. And really, when it boils down to it, and starting your own project obviously isn't a guarantee. You got to get a community around it, and you have to have somewhat of a following. You have to have some sort of social clout to some respect. Now, obviously, there's a lot that goes into that. So the reason I say this is because as time goes on, to safely ensure that you're going to be able to kind of, you know, 100% ensure that you're going to earn like a multiple on some of these investments is, obviously, like, the more and more risk you take on, you're kind of looking for a needle in a haystack, YOLOing into stuff like Pepe or, various different things like that. Now, if something has went up in the past, there's a good chance that it will go up in the future. For instance, this is why I saw the opportunity for Dogecoin. It was like the Doge never dies. This is a reoccurring theme, and the game is too perfect. We are going to have another run in crypto. Obviously, most of you guys that are watching this channel understand that. And actually, the more times it plays out, the more likely is that it will happen again. But remember, the bigger the money that comes in, the less of a multiple they need to actually make. If they bring in $1 billion and spread it out, if they double up and pull out 2 billion, that's an amazing day's work. And it's not that easy to produce that by any other mechanism, whether that be, launching a product or a service and having some sort of company. There's just a lot involved in that. So they don't need to make as big of a multiple to make it substantially, impact their lives and, perpetuate what they're doing. So remember that it becomes harder and harder to bring in a decent amount of money to make multiplied millions. You're going to have to bring in $250,000 this cycle. And then you might say, well, I don't have $250,000. Well, you're either going to have to figure out a way to make it, or you're going to have to increase your social clout or become a founder of a project and really kind of link up and improve your network and maybe get in on the ground floor on a project that has promise and has sort of the reach, the social reach to sort of, perpetuate this and get a multiple that's going to get you to multiplied millions. And then you have to secure the bag at the right time. We've seen this over and over again, where even guys who jumped in and started some project, they shouldn't have been starting a project, but then it caught fire and then they didn't know what they were doing. It was almost like they dumbfoundedly kind of like became super successful, or this thing was like, doing really well and all these people bought it up and it kind of caught fire. And then they actually didn't know to secure the bag. I would say a project like that happened last cycle was Substratum. And kind of seemed like it was something. We just see these over and over again. They get little to nothing done. And it's just weird that it catches fire and all these people kind of pick up on it. So I'm not saying for you to do that and get in with a bunch of clowns that don't know what they're doing. But I'd say we saw this with SafeMoon this last time. It's just like a pack of clowns. They end up doing this, and I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. I jumped into SafeMoon 3 different times. Wrote it up, kind of on a macro trend, kind of chart wise. I just punched back out, got what I could out of it, and that would be that, kind of thing. So now a lot of this stuff, you have to kind of view it that it is not necessarily like a pump and dump, but it's just, jump in, use it and lose it. I've always, I really kind of realized that with XRP last cycle, like 2018 cycle, where it was just like, I don't know why everybody's going towards this. This doesn't make any sense, but whatever, then you just jump in, take a little ride, see you later. You know, use it and lose it. You know, so a lot of these projects are going to be like that. And at the end of the day, you know, you've got to, obviously, you've got to be stacking, you know, in relation to Bitcoin, because it's going to be essentially like kind of beating the S&P 500. All this stuff needs to essentially, you know, beat the returns that you could have gotten just by holding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then on top of that, it's got to outstrip inflation. And I think that's one of the things, and I mentioned this last time before we hit this last cycle, 2020, 2021, whereas, you know, okay, like, are these gains going to actually outstrip inflation? And one of the things that we saw with, obviously, property prices went parabolic as well in a lot of U.S. markets, whether that be, you know, Phoenix, Tucson, Austin, Nashville, all this kind of stuff. So it's like where the gains that people were earning in crypto actually able to kind of hold up with the gains that they would have maybe made in real estate at that time because of all the inflation. It's just a weird thing, and it's very, very hard to time. Real estate is a legitimate path to becoming rich, but it's usually played out over a longer time frame, and it's an illiquid market, obviously. And so some of these people that maybe have these temporary paper gains, they're not going to be able to get out of their property in a timely fashion. And then when this whole thing collapses, and a lot of cities, which it already started, they're not going to be able to get out. Now, a lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of people don't like to hear a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I think that that's what you guys need to be gearing yourself up for. And if you're like, this is ridiculous, I'm not going to have $250,000 to put into crypto, then you need to find a way to either borrow the money or some way to get the money. Because this next, and you do what you want, you know, it's not financial advice. You can figure out your own thing, but that's really legitimately what it's going to take. Because a lot of this stuff, like, let's say with something like Dogecoin, at this point, let's say you buy a bunch under 10 cents. And, you know, if you get in this 5 to 7 cent range, and like you stack in heavy, and then let's just say you can only, you know, you can only kind of bet on maybe like that it's going to go to 50 cents or something. Let's say it's not going to get as high as it got last time. Because people are always going to look for that next thing, and that next thing, and that next thing, and the next thing. And that's what we see. Oh, I missed Bitcoin, so I'll go for Ethereum. Oh, I missed Ethereum, I'm going to go for Dogecoin. Oh, I missed Dogecoin, I'm going to go for Sheeb. Oh, I missed Sheeb, I'm going to go for Pepe. You know, it's like the next thing. So Doge is a safe bet. It will bang, but it's probably not going to go up 40,000% in a year. It's probably not going to do that. But there's just a higher likelihood that the utility of it and what you're able to do with Doge has increased. It's on all the exchanges now, essentially. And, you know, you can post it as collateral on something like the Binance Smart Chain and lever against it. So it's that much more valuable as like kind of a reserve asset. But that being said, it's probably not going to earn kind of this extravagant multiple. Now, could it go over $1? Absolutely. It absolutely could. It'd go to $1.50, $2. It could do something crazy again, but I don't think you can necessarily bank on it. You can't bank your entire bag on that. You can bank your entire bag. It's going to go to 20 cents or 30 cents. And then let's just say, oh, okay, it goes to 50. Well, do your calculation. If you stack a bunch at 7 cents, and let's say we have a capitulation move to 5 cents, what's that going to get you? And again, if you're putting in, let's just pretend you put in 10K, you put in 20K, you put in this, that, the other, and then where's that going to get you? And then there's going to be some friction getting out. You know, was that tokenized on the Binance Smart Chain? There are going to be certain fees. What kind of exchange fees to get out? What's it going to cost you, you know, to get in and out? This is just a realization, guys. This is just a realization. If you want multiplied millions this next run safely, you're gonna have to bring in $250,000. And just realize that. Now, last time you might have been able to get away bringing in, let's say, 100K into the crypto market, and could have got a couple mil out. if you would have secured the bags at the right time and stuff like that. The previous cycle before that, you might have been able to bring in 10K and ended up with multiplied millions if you timed it right and you secured the bag. This is just a reality. As this market matures, these multiples are going to get harder and harder to snag. Now, there can be more people in it, so there's the potential that if you get a part of a project or you create a project, then and you do have the social reach, the social clout, that it can really bang out. But again, obviously there's a lot of bad actors in there, and there's a lot of noise. How do you get it promoted? How much are you going to spend promoting this? And is it a good faith project? Not one of these garbage projects that says that they have something to do with AI. It has nothing to do with AI, or they say they're going to build this and that game. They don't build it. They don't do this, that, the other. That's one of the reasons why I haven't launched my own project. I'm working on my own project right now, but when I launch the project, it's going to be the real deal. It ain't going to be some kind of, BS. Obviously, like you guys know that have followed me for a long time, I'm not trying to sell you down a river. I could have a lot more followers if I just pumped a bunch of garbage and just, talked out my ass all the time. But if you guys have been following me long enough, it's like I can't keep my mouth shut. It's like, for better, for worse, a lot of this stuff, I just call it how I see it. And, in some respects, I'm playing the long game, obviously, in the fact that I'm trying to do stuff right. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to build a metaverse on Ethereum or some kind of BS like that, because that's not going to happen. It's not capable of it. I'm not going to say something like that when it's obvious that anybody with half a brain knows that that's not possible. Build something that is possible, that can deliver the product and actually fulfill the promise. So that being said, guys, let that sink in. Let that sink in. If you want to make multiplied millions, this next crypto run that we're going to have, obviously starting probably in about a year, and then, there's going to be a couple years drawn out. Peak's probably going to be late 2025 kind of time frame. You're going to have to bring in $250,000, or you're going to have to start your own project or be a very, very significant portion of a project and be part of that. Anyway, guys, what do you think about that? Follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, YouTube, Instagram, Steemit, Hive. Subscribe.